The sun above Ground Zone 7 was hidden behind layers of thick smoke and floating dust. Machines hummed and buzzed all around as people moved through the broken streets. The sky, once blue, was now always gray. Still, life went on. Lena walked quickly through the narrow alleys of the old market. She was small, fast, and careful, used to moving through crowds without being noticed. Her backpack was filled with small tools, wires, and metal scraps she had collected from the junkyard earlier that morning. Every piece had value. Every screw could mean one more day with power in her small home. She needed a new power cell. The one she had was too weak now. If it failed completely, her tools would stop working, and she wouldn't be able to earn credits to eat. People shouted prices. Drones buzzed overhead. Someone was selling old solar panels. Another was fixing a broken cleaning bot. Then it happened. As Lena turned a corner, running between two market stalls, she slammed into someone. Hard. Her bag flew from her back and hit the ground with a loud clank. Tools scattered across the dusty floor. "I'm sorry," she started, bending down quickly. "No, I'm the one who should be sorry," a calm voice replied. She looked up. The man standing in front of her was tall, dressed in a clean, dark coat. His clothes didn't belong here. They were too smooth, too perfect. His boots didn't have a single scratch. His hair was short and neatly combed. He didn't look like someone from the ground. He reached down and began picking up the tools without hesitation. Lena grabbed her bag and stuffed things back in quickly. She didn't like attention, especially from strangers. And this man, he was definitely strange. "Be careful where you're going," she said quickly. The man smiled a little, his eyes kind. "I will. Again, I'm sorry." He handed her a small tool she hadn't even noticed on the ground, a laser cutter. One of her most important ones. She snatched it from his hand. "Thanks." And just like that, she walked away. Lena didn't turn back. But as she disappeared into the crowd, the man stood still for a moment, watching her leave. Later that night, Lena sat in her workshop. It was a small space under a half-broken roof, filled with wires, batteries, and parts of machines that no longer worked. She lived alone and liked it that way. As she emptied her bag onto the work table, something unusual fell out. A small cube-shaped object, shiny, smooth, no scratches. It gave off a soft blue glow. Lena frowned. She didn't remember picking this up. Carefully, she held it up to the light. The cube was clearly high-level tech, something from the Sky Cities maybe. No one in Ground Zone 7 could afford this. She tapped it. Nothing happened. But when she brought it close to her broken power cell, it lit up brighter. A power core? She whispered. No. It was more than that. She reached for her old cum scanner. It barely worked now, but maybe she could pick up some signals. She waved the scanner near the cube. The screen blinked. Strange symbols appeared. Encrypted code. High-frequency signals used only by official travelers, or millionaires from Sky Cities. Lena sat back in her chair, heart beating faster. That man, the one she had bumped into, had he dropped this, or had he given it to her? She had lived her whole life down here. People didn't give gifts here. Especially not ones worth more than a house. The next day, Lena returned to the market. She kept the cube hidden inside her coat pocket. She didn't know what she would say if she saw the man again. Maybe he wanted it back. Maybe it was all a mistake. But she also couldn't deny the feeling growing inside her. Curiosity. The same man was standing near a stall selling navigation chips. He was looking at a dusty map like it was a puzzle. She walked up slowly. He turned. Before she could speak, "You came," he said, smiling softly. "I didn't say I would." "No," he replied, "but I hoped you would." Lena frowned. "You dropped something, a cube, from your coat. Did I?" he asked. She stared at him. His expression didn't change. "Yes, I'm glad you found it. You gave it to me, didn't you?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he asked, Do you know what it is? She paused. Something powerful. High energy. Clean. Doesn't belong here. He nodded. Why? She asked. Why would you give that to me? Because you looked like someone who would know what to do with it. Lena crossed her arms. People don't give things away down here. Maybe they should, he replied. She looked at him carefully. Who are you? He smiled again. Just someone who's tired of floating above the world and never seeing it. Sky City? She guessed. He didn't deny it. What's your name? Milo. Short. Simple. She nodded once. Lena. A pause hung between them. Then a voice shouted from the next stall, breaking the silence. A group of young scavengers ran past them, laughing. Milo turned to watch them. It's more alive down here than I expected. You think this is living? Lena asked, her tone sharp. It's real, Milo replied. More real than anything. Up there. Lena didn't know how to respond to that. After a moment, Milo reached into his coat again and handed her something small, a square chip. What's this? A repair assistant. For your scanner. She didn't take it. I don't need your help, she said. I know, he replied calmly. But I want to help anyway. This time she took the chip. I don't trust you, she said. That's okay, he replied. Maybe one day you will. That night, Lena worked longer than usual. The cube worked as a perfect energy source. With it, her old machines came to life again. Lights flickered on for the first time in weeks. As she sat under the glow, she thought about Milo. He was strange, too quiet, too kind. And clearly not from here, but he had helped her. And he had looked at the ground like it mattered. No. One did that. Lena didn't know what would come next. But something had changed, and she could feel it. Lena sat in her small room, the lights glowing bright for the first time in months. The cube Milo had accidentally given her was more powerful than she had imagined. It wasn't just a battery, it was like having her own small energy station. Her scanner worked faster. Her tools ran smoother. For someone like her, this was a gift beyond measure, but she didn't trust it. And she didn't trust him. Rich people didn't come down to the ground for no reason. They didn't help strangers. Yet Milo kept showing up, acting like he belonged. Like he cared. Lena knew better. Still, part of her was curious. The next day, Lena headed to the old train station where broken bots were dumped. She had heard a rumor that a transport bot had crashed there and still had its inner core. If true, it could be worth a lot of credits. She arrived early, but someone was already there. Milo. Again. He was standing near the rusted tracks, studying the broken bot with a puzzled look. You're following me now? Lena said as she stepped out from behind a pile of metal. Milo turned, surprised. I could ask you the same. This is my spot. I didn't know it was yours. It's not marked, but everyone knows. This area is mine. Milo nodded. I'll stay out of your way then. Lena walked past him and knelt beside the broken transport bot. The outer shell was cracked, but the inside was still sealed tight. She took out her cutter. Need help? Milo asked after a moment. No. Still, he stayed nearby, quietly watching. After 10 minutes of work, Lena's cutter sparked and stopped. The blade had overheated. She sighed in frustration. Great. May I? Milo said. Lena looked at him. He reached into his coat and pulled out a compact tool, sleek, silent, and unlike anything she had ever seen. He touched the bot's shell, and with a gentle buzz, it opened. Her eyes widened. What tool is that? A molecular slicer, not common. No kidding. Inside the bot was a glowing orb, the core. Lena gently lifted it out. It was still stable. This would feed her home for a month, or bring a lot of credits. She looked at Milo again. Why do you help me? I told you, he said. Tired of living above the world. I want to know what life really feels like. There are better places than here for that, she said sharply. Maybe, he replied. But I saw something in your eyes when we first met. You weren't afraid of me. You weren't impressed. You were strong. Lena didn't know what to say to that. Over the next few days, Milo continued showing up. When a group of young kids got stuck inside an old ventilation shaft, he helped Lena pull them out. He fixed a broken water pump in Sector 3 without asking for anything. He even helped an old woman rebuild her rooftop panel. People began to notice him. They called him the clean stranger or the quiet one. But no one complained. He wasn't loud. He wasn't proud. He just helped. One night, Lena sat with him on the rooftop of her building, watching the faint lights of the sky cities above. You really came down just to see the ground? She asked. Milo looked up at the sky. My father owns a company that builds the floating cities. He says people down here are the past, that only the sky matters now. And you don't believe him? I think people like him have forgotten what living means. Lena was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, what happens when you go back? I don't want to go back. That's easy to say when you know you still have a way out. Milo turned to her. You think I'm playing a game? I think you don't understand what it's like here, she replied. Every day, I fight to keep lights on. I fix broken machines to buy food. I trust no one because everyone's trying to survive. And yet, Milo said gently, you still help those kids. You still fix water pumps for others. You still came back for me. Lena didn't answer. Her eyes stayed on the stars. A few days later, trouble came. Lena was walking back from the junkyard when she saw two gang members following her. The ground had no real law, just power. And these men worked for someone who believed power belonged only to the strong. They blocked her path. Near a closed shop. Nice tools you got, one said. Heard you found a core last week. I sold it, Lena said, trying to move past. Them. One grabbed her arm. We just want to see what else you got. She pulled away. I don't have anything. That's when Milo stepped from the shadows. Let her go, he said calmly. The two men turned. One laughed. Who are you supposed to be? Milo didn't answer. He pulled a small device from his coat and pressed a button. A blinding flash lit the alley, and when the light cleared, both men were on the ground. Stunned. Milo helped Lena to her feet. You followed me, she said. I check your route sometimes. Just to be sure. I didn't ask for a bodyguard. No, but I came anyway. Lena looked at him, really looked. He wasn't just some rich visitor. He was serious, and maybe he cared more than she thought. She nodded once. Thanks, he smiled. Anytime. That night, Lena lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The cube still glowed softly beside her tools. She had spent her whole life surviving. Now someone was showing her what it meant to be seen, not as a scavenger, not as a worker, as a person. And that was more dangerous than any broken machine. She didn't know where this was going, but part of her wanted to find out. The days passed quietly in Ground Zone 7, but something was changing. People began to smile a little more when they saw Milo. The small market alley where Lena usually worked now had more light, thanks to the tools he helped fix. Old wires that had sparked and smoked for years now hummed gently. Even the broken display screen near the square flickered to life, showing moving images from the old world. Lena still didn't know how to feel. Milo was always kind, always calm, always helping, but he was still a stranger. A man from the sky cities. A man with secrets. And today, she was going to find out the truth. Lena walked to the old tech hub in Sector 9. It was quiet, hidden under a crumbled building, and used only by scavengers who wanted privacy. She brought the cube Milo gave her, along with the scanner and repair chip. Her plan was simple: scan the cube again, this time using deeper code analysis. If she could see where it came from, she might finally learn who Milo really was. The machine blinked to life. It was slow, but it still worked. As the cube connected, the screen lit up with bright green symbols. Lena leaned closer. Property of Nova Core. Level 7 access code. Owner, Milo Aaron. She stared at the screen. Nova Core, the largest terraforming and tech company in the system. Builders of sky cities. Rich beyond measure. And Milo was not just from there, he belonged to it. Owner. That word made her stomach twist. She backed away from the machine, shocked. She had trusted him. Even after everything, a small part of her had started to believe he was different, but now she wasn't sure. That evening, Milo waited near her workshop, sitting at a crate like always. Lena walked up to him slowly. She didn't smile. You lied to me, she said. Milo stood up, concern in his eyes. What do you mean? You're not just some visitor. You're Milo Aaron, heir to Nova Core. I scanned the cube. I saw your name. Milo looked down for a second. Then he nodded. Yes, that's true. So you've been hiding who you are this whole time? I didn't want to be treated like a name, he said quietly. I wanted to know the world for what it is, not through a glass window. Lena folded her arms. You should have told me. I was going to. I just didn't want to ruin what we had. Lena looked away. Her voice was sharp now. We don't have anything. Milo took a step closer. Lena, everything I've done down here was real. I didn't come to study you. I came to understand life I've never lived. You showed me what that means. She shook her head. You don't understand what it's like to be powerless, to fight for everything. You can leave this place any time you want. I can't. Milo didn't argue. He stood still, letting her speak. I don't want your gifts, Lena continued. I don't want your secrets. Just stay out of my life. Then she walked away. Milo watched her go, his hands clenched at his sides. Back in her workshop, Lena sat in silence. The lights were on, but her thoughts were dark. She remembered the way Milo had smiled when fixing a water pipe, the way he had stood between her and the gang members, the way he had looked at her, not like a poor scavenger, but like someone who mattered. Was it all just part of a game for him? She didn't know. The next day, Lena returned to the market. She tried to work like normal, but people kept asking about Milo. Where's the quiet helper? He fixed my drone last week. My daughter misses him. He taught her how to build a mini light. Lena didn't answer any of them. She just worked quietly. Then something strange happened. One of the local news screens near the plaza turned on, flashing a headline, NOVA heir missing Milo Aaron vanishes from Sky City. Lena froze. She read the article quickly. It said Milo had been gone for weeks, that his father, head of Nova Core, had sent search teams, that the family was angry and scared of what people might think. And then she saw the last line. Rumors say he was last seen in Ground Zone 7. That night, Lena climbed to the top of the tallest broken tower in her sector. She stood there, wind blowing through her hair, looking up at the floating cities. They blinked like stars, far and cold. Somewhere up there, Milo had walked away from everything. For what? For her. She shook her head. It couldn't be, but maybe. It was. The next morning, she went to the square. She didn't know why, but her heart told her he might be there. Send single quotes to Dot instead. She found a small box near her usual workbench. It had her name on it, written in simple, neat letters. Inside was a small note. Lena, I didn't come to your world to run away from mine. I came to find something real. If I hurt you, I'm sorry. That was never my plan. I'll be at the edge of Sector 10 tonight. If you don't come, I'll leave tomorrow. No pressure. Just truth. Milo. She held the note tightly. Lena had been alone for so long. Trust was not easy. But something inside her whispered that Milo was different. That he wasn't just a rich boy playing games. Maybe he had found something real too, that evening. As the sun sank low behind the smog clouds, Lena made her way to Sector 10. The streets were quiet. Even the wind had stopped. She saw him standing near the old gate. When he turned and saw her, his face lit up, but he didn't move. "I came," she said. Milo smiled. "You don't have to say anything." "I will," she replied. "You're still a stranger, still from a world I don't belong to." He nodded, listening. "But when I look at you," Lena continued, "I don't see Nova Corps. I see someone who didn't have to help, but did. I see someone who listened, who stayed." Milo's voice was soft. "And now?" "Now," Lena said slowly, "I want to know who you really are. Not your name, just you." Milo stepped closer. "Then let's start from the beginning." And for the first time, Lena didn't walk away, she stayed. After that night in Sector 10, something changed between Lena and Milo. They didn't speak about Nova Corps. They didn't speak about wealth or power. They spoke about machines, wires, broken systems, and life in the ground zone. Every day, they worked together. And slowly, people began to notice that Lena was smiling more. Milo too. It wasn't loud. It wasn't fast. But it was real. One morning, Lena led Milo to the edge of the city, where the air was thicker and the buildings older. They stopped near a rusted gate that barely held together. "What is this place?" Milo asked. "A water line runs under here," Lena replied. "Or at least it used to. This block hasn't had clean water in months." Milo knelt down, looking at the broken pipes. "We can fix it." Lena raised an eyebrow. "We?" Milo smiled. "You and me, like always." They worked for hours. Lena used her scavenged tools to open the outer layer. Milo used a small scanning device from his coat to map the pressure lines. It was a mix of old and new, just like the two of them. At one point, the pipe cracked open, spraying cold water in all directions. Lena shouted, trying to block the flow with her hands. Milo laughed, not at her but with her. Then he grabbed a metal sheet and held it in place while Lena sealed the pipe. When it was done, the water line came to life with a deep hum. Lena wiped sweat from her forehead. "We did it," Milo nodded. "Now this whole block will have water again." She looked at him, the corners of her lips lifting. "Not bad for someone from the sky," he grinned. "You're starting to like me, aren't you?" She didn't answer, but the look in her eyes said enough. The next few weeks passed in a quiet rhythm. Lena taught Milo how to repair old solar panels. Milo showed her how to use advanced scanners to locate rare materials buried underground. They built things together, simple things like light posts and signal beacons. But to the people of Ground Zone 7, those things were life-changing. A child came to Lena one evening, holding a small homemade light. "Mr. Milo helped me build this," he said proudly. Lena smiled and nodded. "He's good at helping." But deep inside, she was thinking more than that. He wasn't just helping her world. He was becoming part of it. One night, as they sat on her rooftop, Milo looked up at the stars. "Do you ever wonder what's out there?" he asked. Lena shrugged. "I used to, when I was a kid. But now I just try to survive each day." "I've been to 5 planets," Milo said. "Seen oceans made of gas, skies with 2 suns. But none of it felt real." "And now?" she asked. "Now I sit on a broken roof with someone who doesn't pretend, and it feels more real than anything I've ever known." Lena looked at him, her voice soft. "You're different, Milo. Not like the others from up there." He looked back at her. "Maybe I never belonged up there." There was a long silence, but it wasn't heavy. It was calm. It felt like peace. One morning, Lena showed Milo a project she had kept secret. An old drone, half broken, half forgotten. "I've been working on it for a year," she said. "But the core's damaged, and I never had the right parts to finish it." Milo examined it closely. "We can make this fly." "You really think so?" "Not alone," he said. "But together?" "Yes." They spent the next 3 days rebuilding the drone. Lena brought parts, Milo brought tools. Together, they rewired the circuits, cleaned the lenses, and reprogrammed the flight system. On the fourth day, they carried it to the old rooftop. Lena held her breath as Milo connected the final wire. The drone blinked once, twice, then lifted into the air with a soft hum. It hovered, turned in a full circle, then flew high above the city. Children ran into the street, pointing. Adults looked up in surprise. It was the first working drone many of them had seen in years. "It's flying," Lena whispered. "You made it fly," Milo said. "No," she replied, looking at him. "We did." That night, they celebrated with simple food and laughter. Neighbors came by to thank them. The street had lights again. The drone flew above, keeping watch. Later, as the crowd faded, Lena and Milo sat alone. "I never thought I'd have someone like you in my life," Lena said quietly. Milo looked at her, his voice just as soft. "I never thought I'd find someone who makes me feel like I belong." Lena hesitated. "Do you miss it, the Sky City?" Milo shook his head. "Everything I need is right here." The morning was quiet. Too quiet. Lena woke up to the soft hum of machines and the buzz of her repaired lights. For the first time in years, her home felt warm and safe. Outside, the street was brighter. Children played near the water pump she and Milo had fixed. People smiled at each other more now, but something felt off. Milo hadn't come by that morning. He was never late. Lena waited on the rooftop with 2 cups of hot tea. The drone hovered nearby, scanning the area. The minutes passed, then an hour. Still, no sign of him. She felt a tightness in her chest. Something was wrong. By the afternoon, Lena began asking around. No one had seen Milo since the night before. She searched their usual places: the market, the old train station, the water line, the rooftop. Nothing. It was as if he had vanished. Then she found it. Near the tower in Sector 3. A small metal object was lying on the ground. It was a communication pin, one used by Sky City security teams. It had the Nova Core symbol. Lena's hands tightened around it. They had come for him that night. Lena sat in the dark, her tea now cold. Her thoughts were loud and sharp. Why now? Why? Take him? She knew the answer. Milo was the only heir of Nova Core. He had left the Sky City without permission. His family had been searching for him, and now they had found him. And taken him away. The next day, a message came through her old screen. It wasn't a voice message, just text. "Stay away. He belongs to us. This is your only warning." Lena stared at the words, her fists shaking. They thought she would be scared. They thought she would back down. They didn't know. Her. Lena went straight to the tech hub. She connected the drone's flight logs to her scanner. She had kept the drone on patrol the night before. Maybe it had seen something. She searched frame by frame until she found it. 4 black-cloaked figures, a sleek hover vehicle, Milo being pushed inside. He was struggling. He shouted something, but there was no sound in the recording. Her heart dropped. They had taken him by force. Lena didn't sleep that night. She worked instead. She rewired her scanner, upgraded her boots, packed her tools, and loaded a shock stick she had built from scrap. She even rebuilt an old bike powered by solar charge. She was not going to wait. She was going to get Milo back. The journey to the Sky City edge was not easy. Security drones patrolled the air. Lena moved through tunnels and climbed through pipes. Every step was dangerous, but she didn't stop. By nightfall, she reached the base of the sky lift. It was a giant pillar of metal and light, reaching up into the clouds. Only authorized citizens could use it. Lena found another way. A cargo lift, old and rusty, hidden under the platform. She broke the lock, rewired the controls, and held on tight. As the lift rose slowly, Lena looked out at the ground, growing smaller beneath her. She had never been this high. Her heart beat faster. Not from fear, but from fire. The Sky City was quiet, clean, cold. Everything was silver and white. Lights blinked gently. People walked. In silence, no shouting, no laughter. Just soft music from hidden speakers. Lena hated it instantly. She moved through alleys, staying low. Using stolen access chips, she found her way to a building marked Nova Core Research Center. Her scanner beeped. Milo was inside. She waited until night, when the guards changed shifts. Lena moved. She used her tools to open the vent above the east wall. Crawled through tight metal shafts. Followed the power lines. Finally, she reached a glass room. And there he was. Milo sat on a white chair, his hands chained. He looked tired, pale, but alive. Lena tapped on the glass. He looked up and his eyes widened. "Lena?" He mouthed. "She." Nodded and held up a finger. "Wait." Then she worked. The lock system was complex, but her fingers were fast. Sparks flew. Codes blinked. Wires hissed. And then clicked. The door opened. She ran in. "Milo." She whispered. "Lena, what are you doing here?" "Saving you," she said, breaking the chains with her cutter. "I told you not to come." "You didn't," she said firmly. "They did. And I don't listen to people who take what doesn't belong to them." Milo smiled weakly. "I knew you'd come." "Of course I did." Alarms blared. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. "They know we're here," Milo said. "Let's show them who we are." They ran through hallways, down staircases, past locked doors. Lena used every trick she knew. She shut down cameras, blocked drones, even dropped a smoke bomb made from kitchen chemicals. At the lower deck, they found an escape pod, old, small, but working. They jumped in. "Are you sure this will fly?" Milo asked. "No," Lena said, "but it has to." She hit the launch button. The pod shook, then blasted downward, away from the Sky City and back toward the ground. When they landed with a crash near the edge of Zone 7, the pod was broken, but they were alive. Lena crawled out first, coughing. Milo followed, smiling. "We made it," he said. She nodded. "Welcome home." Back in her workshop, Lena fixed Milo's bruises. He rested on a chair while she patched a cut on his arm. "I'm sorry they took you," she said softly. "I'm not," he replied. She looked at him, surprised. "If they hadn't taken me, I wouldn't have known how far you'd go." Lena smiled, just a little. "I told you, you're not alone anymore." But deep down, Lena knew this wasn't the end. Nova Core wouldn't stop. They had crossed a line, and next time, she would. Be ready. After the rescue, things did not return to normal. Milo stayed hidden in Lena's workshop, deep in the shadows of Ground Zone 7. He was a wanted person now. Posters with his face and the Nova Core symbol began appearing across terminals and screens. Drones scanned crowds more often. Enforcers in black suits patrolled the streets, pretending they were there to check systems. But everyone knew the truth. They were searching for him, and Lena was no longer just a poor girl. She was now known as the one who took something from the sky, but she didn't care, because something inside her had changed, and she wasn't alone. "We can't run forever," Milo said one night as they sat under the dim lights of the workshop. His arm was still healing, wrapped in clean cloth. "I'm not running," Lena replied. "I've lived my whole life surviving. But now I want to do something more." Milo looked at her. "What do you mean?" "I want to build something for everyone here, not just for us." Milo nodded slowly. "A movement?" "A signal," she said. "A spark." And so they began. Lena and Milo used the drone as a base. They added more memory, more sensors, and a broadcast chip Milo had stolen from a Sky City shipment long ago. Together, they created something new, a freedom beacon. When released into the air, the beacon would send a signal across the ground zones. It would break through Nova Core's walls. It would allow people to speak, share, and connect without being tracked. "Are you sure this will work?" Malo asked. No, Lena said, just like she had when they escaped. But it has to. They tested the beacon near the edge of the old scrapyard. When Lena flipped the switch, the small machine rose into the air and began to blink in soft blue light. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her scanner beeped. Connection found. 1.2.5.12. Voices, messages, data all began to flow. People from other zones started speaking. Is this real? Who did this? We're listening. Milo stared at the screen. They heard us, Lena smiled. Now they know they're not alone. In just 1 week, everything changed. People who had been afraid to speak now began to share their stories. Boy in Zone 5 built his own mini beacon and joined the network. A woman in Zone 3 taught her neighbors how to hide from drones. Man in Zone 9 shared blueprints for clean water filters he had kept hidden for years. Lena and Malo watched it all happen. Hope was spreading. But Nova Corps wasn't blind. They noticed the signals. They couldn't track the exact source, but they knew it had started in Ground Zone 7, and they were angry. Soon, heavy sky drones appeared above the city. Loudspeakers shouted orders. Data towers were blocked. Communications shut down, but the beacon kept sending, and more people joined every day. One night, as Lena worked on the second beacon, someone knocked on her door. She opened it carefully, tools in hand just in case. A girl stood there, maybe 12 years old. She had dirt on her face but fire in her eyes. I heard your signal, she said. I want to help, Lena smiled. Then come in. By the end of the second week, Lena and Malo had built 6 beacons. They placed them across the city, on rooftops, towers, and broken bots. They even disguised one as a STRELIGHT. Now, the network was too big to stop. The ground was speaking. Then, something unexpected happened. A voice came through the beacon. Not a poor worker, not a scavenger, but someone from the sky. This is Rain of Sky City 3. I'm a tech engineer. I've seen what Nova Corps is doing. I want to help. Lena froze. Someone from the other side? Milo replied. Then prove it. Over the next days, Rain sent maps of secret Sky City supply paths, weak points in drone systems, and codes that could turn off certain scanners. He remained quiet, never sharing his real name, but his help was real. Lena didn't fully trust him, but she accepted the help. You think he's like you? She asked Milo once. Milo shrugged. I think he's just human. One evening, the skies turned red as fires burned in Zone 4. Drones dropped flash bombs. People screamed. The city shook. Nova Corps had found a beacon. They destroyed it. Lena and Milo watched the feed with heavy hearts. It's starting, Milo said. Lena nodded. Then we'll build 10 more. The next day, people from every corner of the zone came to her door. Not to ask for help, but to join. An old builder brought metal sheets. A silent teen offered a bag of wires. 2 sisters came with a power pack. They had saved for months. Together, they began building something bigger. Not just a beacon, a voice, a rebellion, and deep within her heart, Lena felt something she had never known before. She felt pride. Not because she was rich, not because she had power, but because she had started something no one could stop, not even the sky. One night, Milo looked at her as they stood under the stars. You've become the symbol of all this, he said softly. I didn't ask for that, Lena replied. I know, but you earned it. She turned to him. I was just a poor girl once. You still are, Milo said with a smile. But now, you're the poor girl who made the stars listen. The core-like tower stood tall in the center of Ground Zone 7. It was built from old satellite pieces, broken power cells, and hope. From this tower, Lena and Malo sent messages across every zone, every beacon, every hidden heart that dared to dream. But they knew the silence from Nova Corps would not last. And it didn't. On the 3rd morning after the core light was finished, The sky turned silver. Not from rain, but from machines. 10 giant skyships hovered above the zone. Their shadows stretched across the streets. Drones filled the air like swarming insects. Enforcers in black armor dropped from the ships. People ran. Windows shut. Voices. Stop. Milo looked up. They've come to end it. Lena held her tool bag tight. Then let them try. At the core light tower, Lena sent out one final signal, a message sent to every zone, every beacon, every ear willing to listen. They are here. We may not win with strength, but we can win with unity. Hold your signals. Help your neighbors. Do not hide your light. Across the network, the reply was clear. We hear you. We stand with you. Let them come. The enforcers entered the zone quickly. They shut down power lines. They tore apart machines. They pulled beacons out of walls and crushed them under heavy boots. But for every signal they broke, 2 more appeared. Children carried backup beacons in their pockets. Elders passed data chips hidden in walking sticks. Music filled the streets, each song a secret code. Milo and Lena moved through the zone, helping people hide equipment and reroute signals. In every home, every alley, the people of the ground stood tall. Not with weapons. But with courage. In Sky City 3, Rain watched the chaos from his small control room. His fingers moved quickly over the console. He turned off 2 scanning drones. He slowed down a patrol ship. He opened a gate between 2 zones so that people could escape. And finally, he sent a message directly to the core light. You are not alone. I've done all I can from here. Keep going. Lena read the message and smiled. Even the sky has cracks. The battle wasn't like war in stories. No fire. No bullets. Just noise, crashing drones, shouting machines, falling towers. But through it all, the core light still blinked. Milo was almost caught by a drone near the water tank, but a group of teenagers blocked its path with an old metal door. Lena was trapped once on the stairs, but a neighbor pulled her through a window. Everyone helped. Everyone mattered. As the sun set, the zone was damaged, but not destroyed. The skyships pulled back. The drones returned to the clouds. Nova Corps didn't speak, but their silence said, enough. They had tried to crush the heart of the rebellion, and they had failed. The next morning, the core light blinked brighter than ever. Its signal reached beyond the zones now. It reached into space. Into ships. Into stations. Even into corners of the sky where stars slept. And something unexpected happened. A reply came back. We are listening. Not from Earth. Not from the sky cities. But from beyond. Milo looked at the signal in shock. This is from the deep station, the outer colony. They haven't replied to Earth in 10 years. Lena's voice was calm. Then maybe we've done more than just fix our world. In the following days, something began to change. The enforcers stopped coming. Nova Corps sent a message offering a restructure agreement. They called it peace, but Lena didn't answer. Because peace wasn't a letter. It was power in the people's hands, and that's what they had now. Lena and Milo spent the next weeks helping other zones build their own core light towers. Each tower had a name, a story, and a beacon of its own. Zone 4 named theirs Hope Rises. Zone 5 called theirs The Voice. Zone 9 built the tallest one and named it Lena's Light. She blushed when she heard that. I didn't do this alone, she said, but people just smiled, because sometimes one voice can start an echo. One evening, as the stars glowed above, Milo stood beside Lena on a tall rooftop. No more hiding, he said softly. She nodded. No more silence, he looked at her. You changed my life, you know. I came from the sky, full of money and questions. Now I have dust on my shoes, and finally, peace in my heart. She laughed gently, and I was just a poor girl with a broken light. You're more than that now, Milo said. You're a light for all of us. A gentle wind blew across the rooftop. Far below, Children played near the tower. Old men fixed broken speakers. A girl flew a paper drone shaped like the beacon. The city was still cracked, still rough, but it was alive. And free. Far in the distance, another signal blinked. Another voice. Another start. Because of one meeting, one mistake, one stranger, and one girl who refused to give up.